public regarding the planning case before the Commission. I ask that you direct your pertinent comments to the Commission through the chairperson and not to the applicant, staff, or individuals within this audience. I would also appreciate your cooperation in making your statements brief and to the point, as I may exercise a prerogative to confine public comments, if need be, to 5-minute intervals per person. With that, I'm going to call May 9th Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Rutherford?
Present.
Commissioner Rankin?
Here.
Commissioner Roberts?
Here.
Commissioner Dusky?
Here.
Commissioner Zurcher?
Here.
Vice Chairperson Dreves? Chairperson Yater?
Here. Next item will be the invocation.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, okay.
You want to go ahead?
Yeah.
We'll stand for that, please. And then after that, stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, we thank you for the freedom you give us to have conversation about our community and the development of our community. What I ask to give us wisdom and knowledge, and also to our audience or those who speak. We thank you in Jesus' name, amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next we'll approval of the minutes. Do we have any changes, comments, discussion about the last meeting? With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Okay, we approve that. All, I guess, all say so.
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Any announcements from the staff or anybody? Okay. No. We'll go into our first public hearing item. ZMC 16-001. Upon the application of the Town of Prescott Valley, a request for a planning zoning map change from R1L-10 residential single family limited to PL public lands on approximately 33.44 acres located on the west side of Gladsford Hill Road that extends from the south of Santa Fe Loop Road to Tuscany Way. This tract lies between Granville Units 3 and 5. Carmen?
Great. Good evening, Chairman and Commission. This evening, the Town of Prescott Valley is requesting your consideration for a rezoning from R1L to PL public lands on 33.44 acres of property. Universal Homes, as a condition of its development agreement with the Town of Prescott Valley, is obliged to dedicate about 65 acres of land to the town. This was a condition of development that the developer Universal Homes came to with the Town of Prescott Valley back in 1999. This 33 acres is proposed to be improved as a public park, and it's to satisfy its requirements for the public land open space element of the development agreement. It's long been a policy of the Town of Prescott Valley to give the zoning classification of public lands for lands set aside for public and quasi-public uses. Town policy has been consistent in taking similar actions in the past where the intent of the grantor of the land or the acquiring entity has been to dedicate the subject parcel for public use. By amending the zoning map to recognize the proposed lands as public lands, this will accommodate future uses in keeping with those found in that zoning district. It separates these uses from customary urban uses and is reflected on the official zoning map. The district's intended to provide areas within the community for parks, public open spaces, government offices and facilities, schools and school grounds, quasi-public buildings, facilities, towers, antenna, wireless communications facilities, and related uses for enjoyment and present use for present and future generations. One thing I do want to mention to the Commission is that this zoning action is only household or housekeeping action, so to speak, that the current zoning district of R1L allows for public parks. So this proposed park is not reliant on this rezoning action. So in compliance with the town code, staff from community development had an informational meeting at the town community room on Thursday, April 7th. And the purpose of this meeting was to get feedback from the neighbors and answer questions on the rezoning action. Notice of the meeting was sent to neighbors within 1,000 feet of the property. Of about 436 letters that were sent, 10 of those were returned undeliverable. 2 signs were posted, one on Santa Fe Loop and one on Glassford Hill. The meeting had about 40 attendees, and the comments and questions at the meeting were all related to the proposed park itself and other property issues that were irrelevant to the rezoning action. Town staff advised the participants to contact the Park and Rec Department relating to park questions and to the developer relating to property issues. And the meeting concluded at 6:20. 2 letters were received also opposing the action. However, they were also unrelated to the rezoning action. So far, we haven't had any comments relating to the rezoning of the park, only other unrelated issues. And staff believes this is the appropriate district for this use, and therefore requests that the Planning Commission approve this and move on to council. And with that, I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Carmen. Any questions from Commission? Okay, then I'll open the floor. Any questions from the audience on this? Or any questions, comments from the audience? Yes, ma'am. Come up here, please. We ask that you come on up and give us your name for the record.
Good afternoon. My name's Judy Kappas, and I live there, but I wasn't able to get to that meeting that they had previously. So some of my questions might have already been addressed, and I hate to ask for a repeat, but they're short and specific. So one of them is, will the upkeep of this park go clear up to our property lines? Our back fence is adjacent to that area.
You have an answer for that, Carmen? I don't think that has any. We're not talking about that tonight.
The park action would be directed to the Parks
Just
and
the
Rec
park.
Commission.
We're only talking about the park tonight and the rezoning for the park.
Rezoning.
We're not going to go into the aesthetics
So
of anything
my
else.
questions can be addressed at a different time to a different.
I would have you do that.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay.
For any types of questions that are relating to the park itself, if the public would contact the Parks and Rec Commission, or not the Parks and Rec Commission, excuse me, the Park and Rec Department, they have a concept drawing that they can provide to the public. The park is only in a concept state right now, and again, any related park questions can be addressed to the Parks and Rec Department.
Now,
Any types of property issues should be directed to the developer.
I'm pretty well. We'll wash all this stuff out as we go down the road. Okay. With that, any other questions from the audience? Okay. With that, I would entertain a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, I move that ZMC 160001, upon the request of the town of Prescott Valley, for a zoning map change from R1L10 PAD to PL on an approximately 33 acres on Glassford Hill Road from the south of the Santa Fe Loop to Tuscany Way between Granville Units 3 and 5 be approved.
Thank you.
I'll second it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. With that,
Quick.
oh, okay, Matt.
I just wanted to, for the audience, if, for The number for Parks and Rec, 759-3090. That's 928-759-3090. So any questions for Parks and Rec, just want to make sure you had the information.
Thank you very much. With that, I call for a vote, please.
My name is Gary Swenson. We have a property on the border of this. We didn't know that, I guess, that it was already approved or is being approved at this point.
Only the rezoning change, that's all. Everything else is we haven't got there yet.
So it sounds like it's going to be public parkland. We haven't decided that yet. Is that where we are at this point? Because we have some comments regarding whether
Carmen, maybe
should
enlighten
be
us.
there.
We haven't really got that far on that yet.
Okay, I didn't quite catch what
Yeah,
you were...
yeah. Just all we're doing is rezoning.
Commission, you will not be having anything to do with the park itself.
That's
you are
right.
only
Sorry.
rezoning the land. So anything relating to the park itself will be handled by the Parks and Rec Department. Now, they've had some public meetings already.
Okay.
They've notified people 1,000 feet also of the subject parcel. And they've had 2 meetings, I believe, where they've had this under discussion. And there's continuing discussion going on, but that's not within your purview. That's outside of your purview.
Right.
So any further park-related issues or questions would be best directed to them.
So just to clarify, we're not going to see anything about this park?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, with that, I'd like a roll call, please.
Commissioner Rutherford,
Yes.
Commissioner Rankin,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Dusky,
Yes.
Commissioner Zurcher,
Yes.
and Chairperson Yater.
Yes, and we'll move that to the council. Thank you. Our next item is action items, FDP 16-006. Upon the application of Dorn Homes, a request for a PAD amendment to Quailwood Meadows final development plans, plats, units 1 through 8, to amend the typical lot rear yard setbacks from 20 feet to 18 feet. Mr. Joe.
Thank you, Chairman. This, again, it's also, I don't know if you mentioned, it's also looking to increase the maximum lot coverage to 50%. The major minor amendments are allowed in the Town Code Section 1319-080. And because of the increase in lot density and reduction of the rear setbacks.
Joe?
Yes.
Yeah. Get your.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
That was a little short.
Your mic is listening to the.
There we go. Again, because of the proposed change in density on the lots coverage and the setbacks, the director has brought the request before the Planning and Zoning Commission. If approved, we go to the Town Council also. Again, the plats for Quailwood Meadows were approved in August of 2003. And the exhibit here shows generally the amount of, in yellow, the lots that are still vacant and to be developed. The typical lot detail that was on the plat indicates both the front setbacks, rear setbacks, and the setbacks for the livable area as opposed to garage, and shows the garage setbacks. And originally included a 3-foot staggering of homes, not more than 2 being the same front setback. The original platted lots were compact in size and fit the original homes of the developer at the time. Since then, different owners have acquired lots in Quailwood Meadows, and different housing projects have been constructed and proposed. Some of these plans don't necessarily fit when forced onto the smaller lots, and especially the staggering was an issue, which required an additional 3-foot setback in the front. So the R1L, the zoning is presently R1L 10, which allows for 40% lot coverage. And again, the 40% kind of was a carryover when the town, older part of town, had 10,000 square foot lots, so 40% was quite a bit. It just So when it went to the smaller lots, that obviously has more impact on the smaller lots, which is why they're proposing to go to 50%, would allow more housing products, again, within the allowed setbacks. So on March of 2015, Dorn requested a minor amendment to the Quailwood PAD to eliminate the required staggering. So this, and that was approved. And this also allows more housing product choices. The lot detail also originally allowed for an 18-foot front yard setback to the garage on lots that were on the side of the street where there was no sidewalk. This basically allowed an additional 2-foot reduction in those lots. The zoning department has requested, because the town code requires 20 feet of space on site for off-street parking. And so part of the approval with the reduction in the rear yard is retaining a 20-foot setback, 2 garages on site and all lots, which will provide uniformity throughout. And again, along with the uniformity of the setbacks, the 50% lot coverage will allow for more housing product. So while livable space could be reduced by 2 feet and become 2 feet closer in the rear, the intent is not to have any attached structures closer than currently allowed. So presently, the code provides that any open porch, balcony in the rear of the yard shall not be closer than 10 feet from the rear common property line. And that's still in place, so even though a home livable area could be 2 foot closer, there still won't be anything, structures closer to the rear yard of adjacent lots. So with that, the request has been reviewed by the Planning and Zoning and Building Divisions, and observes that the requested amendments will not affect any building codes or other zoning codes. And on this basis, staff recommends approval of the PAD amendment to reduce the rear setback and increase the lot coverage. With that, if there's any questions.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Any questions from the commission?
I have a question. It appears to me that this is not just an amendment of the Quailwood Meadows plat, but also of the zoning ordinance. Is that the case, where you're increasing the density from 40 to 50%?
Well, with the PAD, the PAD, when you plat it, like the setbacks, the PAD is approving kind of separate standards for that subdivision. So just like the setbacks approved are less than what you would find in a regular R1L10 district, with the plat it approved smaller setbacks in areas. So it was really an oversight probably on staff's part to not realize that the lot coverage was probably not sufficient. So it should have been part of the plat, and the PAD approval at the time should have allowed for more lot coverage because of the small lots. So it's not amending it, the zoning code, just specifically for this planned area development in this plat. So it's specific just to this Quailwood units 1 through 8.
Well, I'm a little confused because it says that DD10 is 40%.
Right.
And that this is DD10.
But I'm just saying, but if you look at Density District 10 also, in the older parts of Prescott Valley subdivision, you have 25-foot setbacks. And so I'm saying, so the point is, with this particular PAD, when it was approved, it provided for lesser setbacks. And so the planned area development, when it's approved, can set special standards just for that planned area development.
There's more flexibility.
That's the point of the planned area developments, to allow specific for different projects. For instance, in the PAD, Stone Ridge, they do the products where they join, put 2 homes together on a common property line. I mean, that wouldn't be allowed in the common part of town. So the flexibility is approved with each project to allow that. So, like there's probably oversight on staffs to not, when it was approved at the time, to increase the lot coverage because of the small size of the lot. So this is just kind of going back, and the code allows with the approval to go ahead, and that's the point, to make these minor adjustments within the
Well, it
PAD.
doesn't seem like an unreasonable thing to do.
Yeah, I think it's appropriate.
Rick?
Okay.
Rick? No? Matt? Gary? Okay. Any questions from the audience on this action? Seeing, hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, move that we approve FDP 16-006.
Second, please.
I'll second.
Okay.
Second.
Gary, thank you. With that, roll, please.
Commissioner Rankin,
Yes.
Commissioner Rutherford,
Yes.
Commissioner Dusky,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Zurcher,
Yes.
and Chairperson Yater.
Yes. We'll move on to the next action item. Joe's going to help us with this one, too. Okay. Next action, RP 16-001. Upon the application of Greenmark LLC, consideration of revisionary plat to combine lots 5 and 6, Prescott Valley Unit 24, into new lot 5-R located at 6301 North Baja Circle.
Thank you, Chairman Yater and Commissioners. Again, this is a case where the primary use and the building are located on Lot 5, and additional parking and accessory storage are located on Lot 6, and as such are considered off-site and therefore in violation of town code. Combining the two lots into a larger lot will bring the business and the uses in conformance with the zoning code. This is just a kind of a cleanup project.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
Staff recommends approval of this.
Thank you, Joe. Any questions, any comments from the commissioners? Larry? No? Okay. Nope. Okay, with any questions, comments from the audience? Seeing, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Chairperson, I'd like to have us approve RP 16-001, combining lots 5 and 6 in Prescott Valley Unit 24.
I'll second that.
Okay, we've had a motion second. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Rutherford,
Yes.
Commissioner Rankin,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Dusky,
Yes.
Commissioner Zurcher,
Yes.
and Chairperson Yater.
Yes. Now we'll move on to our last action item for this evening, and Joe's with us again. Okay, Joe.
Thank you. This is a request by Prescott Charities for a preliminary subdivision plat to convert an approximately 18,000 square foot commercial building on approximately 1 1/3 acre into 2 condominium units located at 8594 East Ridge Drive. The subject property is part of Parcel 4 in the East Ridge final development plan. Subject property is zoned C3 PAD. Condominium development is regulated by Section 140306 of the Subdivision Code. The plat identifies 2 approximately 9,000 square foot units and designates the commonly owned property. The condominium declaration has been prepared, providing for the ownership and operation of the proposed Antelope Point condominium. This subdivision airspace does not affect the allowed uses or the density of development and allows for separate ownership of individual commercial units without subdividing the underlying real property. Final plats for new condominiums are approved by the Town Council after construction, and so obviously this property is developed and has been approved prior to approval of the plat. Engineering for the site has already been approved in conjunction with issued development permits. Access to the site is via the existing public right-of-way. Internal circulation, drainage, and utilities will be accomplished through the designation of common areas used and maintained by the Owners Association. Again, this the point for the Prescott Charities doesn't need this much space, so it allows them to use part of this and then to transfer ownership of other parts of the building to other users. So just a way to allow some flexibility for these big buildings that have sitting there. It's a creative way to kind of break it up and get different users within that one building. And so staff supports the utilization of the commercial condominiums and allows for more options for the commercial and economic development of buildings in town. And staff observes that the approval of the commercial condominiums is consistent with the goals of the general plan. And staff recommends approval with the 2 conditions.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Any comments from the commission? Questions? Rick? Okay. Anybody? I'll entertain a motion.
Chairperson, I would like to put forward a motion to approve PP 16-001 Antelope Point Condominium to be divided into 2 condominium units at 8594 East Ridge Drive.
Second, please.
I'll give a second.
Okay, thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Rankin,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Rutherford,
Yes.
Commissioner Dusky,
Yes.
Commissioner Zurcher,
Yes.
and Chairperson Yater.
Yes, and with that, we'll have Matt, would you do the call to the public for
Yes.
us, please?
So call to the public, consideration and discussion of comments from the public. Those wishing to address the Planning and Zoning Commission need not request permission in advance. Action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter or rescheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date.
Thank you with that, and that will end tonight's meeting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, any public comments? I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, come on. Thank gosh. Thank you very much. Everybody's been so quiet out there. I didn't expect anybody to come up here.
My name is Mike Rothstein. I just had a question. I was under the impression there was going to be consideration of the Stone Ridge modification of the master plan. Was that rescheduled?
We haven't scheduled that at all, as far as I know, at this time, right? Yeah, it's
Okay,
not scheduled
then I
yet.
had bad information then. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we'll end this meeting. P&Z, May 9th, 2016.